thrill me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
Hey yo, and welcome to the Revealed Rob Show. I am, of course, your host, Revealed Rob, coming at you with a brand new episode chocked full of movie news. I'm talking about new things that were announced today. Right before I started recording this episode, man, I've got some interesting stuff to talk about here. Some other movie news as well. I have a little bit of theme park news to go over with you beautiful people. As always, appreciate you for joining in and listening to me ramble on about the stuff that I am passionate about and love. That's, of course, movie talk, theme park talk, wrestling talk, mostly movie and wrestling. But hey, I got some theme park news again, as I mentioned a moment ago. But I hope you all out there have had a great time since the last time we conversated here. You heard me talk. And I had a good weekend and everything like that. I myself had a fantastic weekend. Before I go any further, absolute must, and absolutely want to do is wish my brother, the greatest brother of all time as far as I'm concerned, a very, very happy birthday. As they're recording this episode, it is his birthday, man. So big birthday shout out to my brother, Tombstone Josh, who is a member of the Thrill Me Podcast Network as well, with his show, The Metal Groove, which drops on Mondays, making Monday extra metal, man. So a huge birthday shout out to my brother, and actually got to hang out with my brother last night at a rock show, man. We went to see the Black Crowes, great rock band, man. I think they came out, I think the first album came out in 1990, if I'm correct. So 90s rock band, southern rock, soulful, rock, man, and good time. The band that opened before them, I always get their name wrong. I think it was Driving and Crying and Crying and Driving, but they sounded awesome. They put on a great show, good songs, queued up a lot of their songs to be part of a playlist I create in my YouTube music called Listen To Later playlist, where anything that just pops in my mind, throw it in that playlist, hit shuffle, and then whatever comes up. So added them in there, and then of course the Black Crowes came on, put on an awesome show, man. A lot of stuff. I've always liked the Black Crowes. Haven't followed them, a lot, but I know like their hits and all that stuff. And so good, man. They were great live, man. They put on a really good show. The lead singer, Chris Robinson, did a fantastic job doing his performance up there on stage, and the band sounded great. They did a great job, man. So the Black Crowes, check them out if you haven't checked them out, and check out the Metal Groove, which releases every Monday. And wish my brother a happy belated birthday after you listen to this show, man. Speaking of this show and the Thrill Me Podcast Network, you can check out the other shows we've got on the network as well. Mention the Metal Groove on Mondays. You've also got Haunters Podcast on Mondays, where they're talking haunt information like HHN and any other haunts that take place around the world. And they spoke about Halloween being announced as the newest house for HHN. That's right, the original classic Halloween is coming back to Halloween Horror Nights this year, and I'm super stoked and excited, man. I think I've mixed up those two words just, and that's how excited I am about this happening. So, and it's been met with mixed reviews, but what else is new about the Halloween Horror Nights community on the socials, especially Twitter? But I'm excited. I didn't get to experience Halloween at HHN when it happened before. Yeah, so the original Halloween film was at HHN 24. So I was not there. My first HHN was actually HHN 28, where they did Halloween 4, which was awesome. I had a great time walking through that house, which was based on a movie that came out the same year I was born, man. So that was an extra cool ad there for me for my first Halloween Horror Nights event. But like I said, I am really excited about this film coming there. I know there's been a lot of, I don't look at the speculation maps. I have no interest in seeing those. But I know I've heard the speculation of Halloween being there, especially the newer Halloween films with the 2018 film, and then you had Kills and you have Ends that's coming out later this year. I like the idea that they're doing this Halloween, the classic game, because one, I guess for selfish reasons, if you will, I didn't get the chance to experience it, and I know there's a lot of people out there who didn't get the chance to experience this before either. So thinking in my mind that, yeah, it was there before, but that doesn't bother me. That was what, almost 10 years ago. Houses get repeated. It's mostly done in Hollywood, but I'm glad that it does this and that they're redoing it because, again, I get the chance to experience it. A lot of other people get the chance to experience it, and just being able to go through the classic horror film Halloween and be able to live through that movie is going to be a cool experience, man. I like that idea. And then if we're going to focus on the other Halloween films, the trilogy, I mean, that sets up the next 3 years pretty easily if they want to do all three as separate houses or if they try to blend them all into one house, which I'm sure the creative team could figure out a way to do that, but I don't know if that's something necessarily you need to do. I'm trying to think about what you could do with Halloween Kills anyways in a haunted house. I mean, there's probably some things you can do, hospital stuff. I mean, the Myers house would be. Was it the Myers house? I haven't watched Halloween Kills in a while, man. I don't remember having the best experience watching. I enjoyed some things, but didn't like it too much overall. But the kills in that house there at the end were pretty epic, so it'd be cool to watch some of that again. But yeah, I think them going with the original instead of the new films is pretty good call. I'm gonna enjoy it for one, selfish reasons, and then two, I think it's cool to have Halloween there in general. When does Halloween Ends come out, by the way? Halloween Ends releases October 14th, 2022, according to Google. So, yeah, that'd be well into Halloween Horror Nights time, so you don't want to spoil anything about the movie. So, yeah, I get it. I get why you wouldn't do Halloween Ends yet. So, yeah, go ahead and do the original, and then if you want to focus on the new trilogy, it's not even a trilogy because it's a sequel to the original film. If you want to focus on the three new films, then you have the next 3 years. You can do something with that. For sure. But I'm excited about Halloween Horror Nights returning this year, of course, and Halloween returning this year. And it opens up the excitement even more because of thinking other things that could return. I'm sure The Exorcist will make a return at some point in time. That would be awesome because I missed that house as well. So if an Exorcist house comes back and I get to experience that, especially closer to when the new Exorcist film is coming out, then I'm going to be super excited about that, man. I'm still looking at the Exorcist shirt that Halloween Horror Nights over in Hollywood had last year that I'm still thinking about purchasing for myself because it's an epic shirt, man. I've really gotten heavy into The Exorcist the last couple of years. I remember growing up and hearing that it was the scariest film of all time, and then I remember when my young, dumb self watched it, I'm like, oh, it's not all that scary. But now when I'm older and more reasoning and all that stuff, I'm like, this is, whether it's scary or not, it's a damn good movie. So, I would love to see The Exorcist return. I was able to experience the Poltergeist house. I would love to experience that again. That would be a fun time. And yeah, cool. I mean, The Shining, I miss The Shining, so if they do a Shining house, maybe do Doctor Sleep instead. If we're going to revisit The Shining, just do it like a whole Stephen King night. We talk about Tom Atkins night here on the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Dude, a Stephen King night of Halloween Horror Nights. Can you imagine, like, every house in Scare Zone is based on his stuff? That'd be crazy, man. Like a Castle Rock Scare Zone that leads into freaking, I don't know, one of his movies. But it'd be fun. Anyways, God, I did not expect to start off with Halloween Horror Nights, but so much stuff has gone on since the last time we talked that I just had to jump in here and go over this stuff, man. I love me some Halloween Horror Nights, so it's cool to talk about that. And while we're in theme park news here, I just go ahead and touch on some other news out of the Universal side over there, where today it was announced that Universal Orlando's City Walk is going to have Universal's Great Movie Escape. I wonder if that's a fun play on Disney's old attraction, Great Movie Ride, or whatever the heck that thing was called. Universal's Great Movie Escape. Two extraordinary escape adventures inspired by Back to the Future and Jurassic World is coming to Universal City Walk this fall. Tickets and additional details will be released soon. That's fun, man. I've never done a an escape room. I've seen it. I've seen movies about escape rooms. I wasn't a big fan of that one I saw. I wish they made a sequel to that I still haven't seen. But I'll definitely give it a try. We're already kind of talking about if it's open during our HHN trip that we're gonna give it a look ski and see if we can experience it. If not, then I'm sure there'll be plenty of other times to check it out. But I'm into it. I don't know what the Back to the Future one would be. I guess we're escaping Biff, or trying to get back to present day after going back in time to get Back to the Future. I don't know, but I love Back to the Future. It is second on my list of all-time favorite films. So into that, anything Back to the Future, I'm going to be interested in. Except for Rick and Morty, I've never watched that. I've heard it's good though, and heavily inspired by Back to the Future. And then of course Jurassic World, which I have thoughts in the moment, but that seems pretty self-explanatory what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to, escape before the dinosaurs eat us. I guess. I mean, we don't have full details. We'll get those when we get them, and then I will talk about them on this show. But it's I found it interesting that it's Jurassic World. It's not Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic franchise. Not anything like that. It's Jurassic World, and that's yet another Jurassic World thing that is coming to Universal, which still has me wondering if not even honestly at this point I don't even know if it's an if as much as it's more of a when will the river adventure be changed, because it's still Jurassic Park the River Adventure, pretty much the same as it was when Islands of Adventure Park opened, and you've seen the updates that Hollywood has made to it with adding the scene with the Mosasaurus and all that good stuff. So we'll see what ends up happening there. I don't know if I want it to change or not change. I'm kind of indifferent to it. I like the original style of it. But, again, Jurassic World is the focus, but at the same time, Jurassic World franchise just ended. Or at least this story just ended. And I did see Jurassic World Dominion over the weekend. You're like, hey, Rob, man, your title typically talks about the movie you're going to be reviewing. And this says The Northman, not, not Jurassic World Dominion. And there's a reason for that, babies. And that is because I don't want to give full details on my thoughts about Jurassic World Dominion right now, because the Throw Me Podcast Network has, little thought skis going on about doing a next event where we all get together and talk about things. We did that couple weeks, months or so back when Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness, also known as Doctor Strange Mom, also known as what I love to refer to it as and what it really is, Wanda in the Multiverse of Madness. We did an event for that and talked that and, other things that we all talk about that involve all of our shows. And we're, planning the next one, and it's going to be, I believe, Jurassic related. So I won't give my full details on Jurassic World Dominion right now. What I will say as a Jurassic fan, I mean, Jurassic Park is my all-time favorite film. I've been indifferent to some of the other Jurassic films, but I've always enjoyed them because I've always loved, Jurassic dinosaurs and all that stuff. And I'm one of the few people in the world that did really enjoy Fallen Kingdom. I like the horror aspects of Fallen Kingdom a lot. I'm not somebody who talks about cinematography, but, go back and watch it. That movie's got some great cinematography in it. So when Dominion came out, I was super excited about the returning three, our big three from Jurassic Park. And what I'll say is it's not like Fallen Kingdom where, Jeff Goldblum was barely in it. They are throughout the movie. Definitely a big chunk of time spent with them in the film, which is great. I didn't hate the movie, but I will say going out of it, I wasn't left with the kind of experience I had saying when I left X or when I left Top Gun Maverick. It didn't blow me away by any means. I had a good time. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I had a good time. I told somebody earlier this week that, actually it was last week after I saw the movie, because it's the beginning of the week when I record. I told somebody, it felt like the perfect sequel to the original film, just with, added elements in it. It could have been the perfect sequel. So I have no real, I don't have too many issues with it. I have some, and we'll probably bring that up on our event, the Throw Me Podcast Network. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We all got solo stuff on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube, where you'll get updates on any upcoming shows we have going on. Get trailer reactions, video game gameplay, any other fun we get into, including these get-togethers. So be sure to follow us again on Facebook, YouTube, this Thrill Me Podcast Network. All of our shows have separate Instagrams on Instagram, of course. So there you go. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed Jurassic World Dominion. I'll give more thoughts on it when we do our show. But like I said, the Northman will be the film I'm talking about later. So we'll get to that when we get to it. But let's jump into the news with the biggest news that broke right before recording, which kind of took me by surprise. Last week, we got the news that a sequel to The Joker was happening. Joker 2, or what it's called, Joker something in French. I never took French. I can't speak French. Maybe I should learn, but Joker Voledu? I don't know. But that was announced last week. I'm like, cool. They announced Joker. We'll take some time here, and we'll get some more information. We'll get some more information, down the line. But right before, like I said, before recording this episode, we got some more information about this sequel. And then not only is it going to be a very interesting sequel, someone has joined the cast or is circling around negotiations to join the cast that I would have never thought of to join this cast. But as soon as you hear it, it's one of those things, like I think we've all had this experience, especially with movies, when you hear somebody's cast, and you're like, I would have never thought about that, but I like that idea. So Lady Gaga, yes, Lady Gaga, is apparently in early negotiations to join the sequel to Joker as Harley Quinn. What? Like, again, I would have never, ever thought about that. I do my own fantasy casting in my mind when I'm doing stuff, and I have my own person I would have picked as Harley Quinn. I'll just throw it out there. I think Emma Stone would be a fantastic Harley Quinn. Just look at her, Cruella, and change it up a little bit, make it a little dirtier. You get it. And I was thinking that before Cruella came out, to be honest with you. I've been thinking about that ever since I started playing the Arkham games. I'm like, and doing my, fantasy casting in my head. I'm like, Emma Stone would be great as Harley Quinn. But Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn just kind of feels good. I like the idea. I think she can do a good job. As far as her acting credits and all that stuff, she, mostly has been talked about, and I believe she was even nominated for A Star is Born, which I've never seen the movie. I've seen clips from it, and of course I heard that song over and over and over again, which is a good song, so it wasn't that horrible. But she did that. She's fantastic in American Horror Story. I mean, from what I saw her in, she did a good job there. So I'm into it. I like the idea that she could be joining the sequel as Harley Quinn. She also did that. Was it Versace movie? I don't know. I don't think it was Versace. Maybe it was Versace. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I was interested in seeing it. I know that the reviews have been horrible for that movie, but that probably just means not Versace's Gucci. Come on, man. You're a style icon. You should know these things. Not really. I just wear the same crap over and over again with an HHN shirt. But House of Gucci. Yeah. I have not seen that movie, and don't know if I'll be seeing it anytime soon, but I think I've heard that she's probably good at it. But like the rest of the movie, I don't know. I don't trust the internet too much, especially when it comes to stuff starring Jared Leto. Everybody seems to hate him all of a sudden. So, who knows? They can probably be review bombing it for all I know. But, anyway, she's apparently going to join the cast, or is close to joining the cast for Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is, of course, expected to return, but has not officially signed on to return. And you're still going to have Todd Phillips in the director's role and all that good stuff. So that's not like the only news we've got about this today. Apparently, and this one threw me for even more of a loop because I would have never, ever thought this was going to happen. But apparently, the sequel is going to be a musical. And you're probably hearing that and you're like, oh, this has got to be fake. There's no way this is right. But so many reputable sources are putting this information out there. It's not like just some random person on Twitter. This is a lot of good sources that are putting this information out there, and a sequel that is a musical to that first Joker film is just crazy. And I think that adds to what we got here because we're dealing with a Joker and all that stuff. So, I mean, more power to them. I'm gonna obviously see it. It's DC. You know how much I love DC. There's only one film I'm not seeing right now. We're not going to that. Sick of talking about it for now. I'll talk about it later, of course, because I am me. But yeah, apparently Lady Gaga has or could be Harley Quinn for a musical sequel to the Joker film that did really good business. Was a success, so much of a success that, of course, it got a sequel. Joaquin Phoenix won an award for Best Actor, and much deserved, of course, did a fantastic job. Second Oscar that went to the Joker, of course, the late, great Heath Ledger won for his role as the Joker as well. That's all we know right now. We don't. Most details are under wraps. It's not known if Lady Gaga will be, if she's in the film, if she's going to be writing or contributing to the music in any way, shape, or form, but you would assume she would be. Gaga, of course, worked with Todd Phillips for A Star is Born. Phillips was one of the producers for the film, so they've got a little bit of history there. Yeah, we'll see, man. Very interesting. Very interesting, but I'm into it. It's, wasn't expecting it at all, but it sounds like a good time. To be honest with you, it sounds like it's going to be a wacky good time. Let's see. Knives Out 2 officially has a title. The upcoming sequel to the Knives Out film will now be known as Glass Onion. I can't wait to see how that's explained. Other details are not too known right now. They're mostly under wraps. We do know that Rian Johnson is back as the writer and director. We know that Daniel Craig is back as Private Detective Benoit Blanc. And the other cast members we got here: Catherine Hahn, Ethan Hawke, Edward Norton, Dave Bautista, Kate Hudson, Janelle Monáe, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, and Madeline Klein. The sequel is expected to hit Netflix this fall. I'm into it. I enjoyed the first Knives Out film. I'm not going to lie, the reason I saw that movie was because Jamie Lee Curtis, love her. And of course, it ended up being like, dude, awesome movie, man. So I can't wait to see Knives Out 2, especially it's going to be on Netflix. That's an interesting thing, but Netflix paid a lot of money for it, and maybe it's going to help Netflix get more people to watch their stuff, man. I enjoy, I was thinking about the other day, I was talking about somebody the other day, like, only time I really honestly watch Netflix is Stranger Things. I don't. And of course, I have the Flixit show that'll be hitting our Patreon. Throw Me Podcast Network has a Patreon as well, where we're doing awesome original content over there, extra content, extra bonuses, and all that stuff. And I'll have a show called Flixit where I go over the newest stuff that hits Netflix. First episode of that'll be coming later this month. But yeah, for the most part, I don't know if Netflix is like my go-to streaming service, which is a crazy thing about because Netflix has been like the streaming service for so long. But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Stranger Things and me doing that show, I don't know when I would ever really watch Netflix. I've got a lot of streaming services. The majority of my time is spent either on Shudder or YouTube, to be honest, or Peacock, because Peacock's got the WWE network. So I don't know, man. Netflix has got to do something. They've got a lot of original content coming. They have something releasing later this week. I'll talk about when we get to what's releasing this week on this show. But yeah, Knives Out 2. That should hopefully bring in some Netflix visitors. Let's see, Scream 6. We haven't talked about that enough. I feel like I've been talking about it on every single episode lately of the show. But hey, it's news and it's horror news. So Scream 6. If you remember, we talked about last week how Neve Campbell is not returning to the franchise. Maybe we'll see if this is a big ploy to get more money or not. But apparently, she wasn't offered a lot of money, which she's the star of the franchise, so she has that right. Scream 6 apparently will be heading to Manhattan, as it's being heavily rumored that Scream 6 will be shot in New York City. Of course, kind of spoilers. I don't want to talk about Scream 5 too much, even though it's been out for a while. And it is on Paramount Plus. I don't want to talk about some of the things that happened in that film. So, Scream 6 could be taking place somewhere other than Woodsboro. This would not be the first time for the Scream franchise leaving Woodsboro. Scream 2 took place at like a college in Ohio. So, is my first thought when I heard this is the majority of the film going to be on a boat? Immediate thought, because, of course, anytime you think about a horror movie going to Manhattan, Jason's the first thing that comes to your mind. Jason Takes Manhattan, I think it's called. And, the majority, on pretty much all the films on a goddamn boat, So that was my first thought. And I've seen a lot of amazing, like, fan-made posters since this information's come out. And, oh, man, good stuff. Good stuff. I love some good fan-created stuff. I mean, I'm going to see Scream 6. I'm a Jenna Ortega fan. She is in the film. So I'll be there to support that. Hayden Panettiere is returning. That's an interesting concept. I want to see what she's up to. Enjoyed her character a lot in Scream 4. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. Let's see. Speaking of Scream, David Arquette, he's a legend of the Scream franchise. And he was talking recently with comicbook.com, doing some press for The Quarry, the game that just came out from Supermassive Games, that are my buddy, fellow Throw Me Podcast Network brother, Zach, has the game already. I'm slightly jealous, but at the same time, I'm waiting and saving money for my Halloween Horror Nights trip, so I'm not too disappointed. But and I know he won't spoil anything for me because he knows how much I love Until Dawn and the Supermassive Games with the Dark Pictures anthology. But he was doing some press for that, and he was asked by comicbook.com how he would feel about a Scream video game from Supermassive Games. And Arquette had the following to say, saying, quote, "Absolutely. I think they could pull it off very easily in a wonderful way. Even just reshooting some stuff is literally like if you scan some people in there, you can do different versions of different movies, and you do all kinds of stuff." Continuing on, he said it would be a wonderful experience. I would love that. Ghostface is already in that world, so it's not that hard to do. First thing to touch on there, him saying Ghostface is already in that world. What he's talking about is Ghostface has been in a couple video games, Dead by Daylight, as well as, I don't know what's going on with this game series, but Ghostface was in Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War, it looks like. I've seen a lot of videos where they're just adding some random stuff to these Call of Duty games. I don't know what's going on. But this has kind of been my thought when it comes to horror movies like this being turned into video games. Like Friday the 13th, it's fun for a while, but I would prefer like a story. I would prefer to be living through a story instead of, randomly running around the camp and trying to survive Jason or beating Jason and killing somebody. Yes, it could be fun for a while, but, I'd want a story. And looks like Evil Dead's the same way. You're running around the place trying to, kill things and get a book and all that stuff. And I don't know, man. I want like a story-driven game, and Supermassive has done great horror story games, man. So I'd be into the idea of them taking on any horror franchise, whether it's Scream or whatever, man. Even I'm not a huge Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, and they got a video game coming too, and I haven't really looked too much into that. But I would be interested to see what Supermassive could do with these properties. Like, imagine playing, I don't know, Halloween. We were talking about Halloween earlier. Imagine playing Halloween, and you can be a new character. Maybe you're Lori, and you're going through the story. But I would like the idea of like you get to be a new character or something like that, and you got to live through the night, and the story's being told and all that stuff. I think it'd be cool, man. I think it'd be a good time. And I'm not knocking these games. I know a lot of people enjoy Friday the 13th. A lot of people enjoy Dead by Daylight. It doesn't click with me. Like I said, it's probably something that's a lot of fun to play with friends. I can see that. But for me, as somebody who mostly plays games solo, it doesn't do it for me. After a while, I'm like, all right, this is old. And I'm tired of it. I get tired of morphing into trees, man. So we'll see what happens there. That's just a fun little question that he was asked. And, when you hear or see stuff like that, you're like, ooh, that'd be cool. So, we'll see what happens if anything happens there. Supermassive, of course, is doing their thing and doing it great. Again, The Quarry is out now. Go get that game, especially if you played Until Dawn. This is being called the spiritual successor to Until Dawn, so go check it out. Other news, The Weeknd, the pop star, is the first ever, apparently, pop star to get the cover of Fangoria. First ever pop star with a Fangoria cover story. Bloody Disgustings, great website that has a lot of horror news. They did an article about The Weeknd's connection to the horror genre. So go over there and check that out. I don't follow The Weeknd all that much to really know his genre. I've seen photos and images of him where he's got some special effects makeup on. So he's done some horror looking stuff. It's pretty interesting because, circling back to HHN, that's something else that's been rumored heavily this year, is that The Weeknd's going to have a house themed around, I guess, his music, I would assume. Again, I don't listen to The Weeknd all that much, so I don't know how it would work. Maybe we need to go to Bloody Disgusting and read this article about his connection to the horror genre, but it's cool. Good for him. I know the Fangoria covers had Ozzy Osbourne on it, but Ozzy's not a pop star. So good for him. If you're interested in checking that out, especially if you're a Halloween Horror Nights fan, you're like, what is his connection to horror? There you go. He's on the Fangoria cover, so he's obviously doing something, right? And then you can go check out Blade Disgusting's article about his connection to the horror genre. Let's see, the Duffer Brothers have let some information out about Stranger Things season 4, saying they're still trying to finish the final 2 episodes for the season. And it's not too long until those hit. The final 2 episodes of season 4 are hitting July 1st, a couple weeks from now, and they have not finished the final 2 episodes. They're so massive, is what the Duffer Brothers said. Quote, trying to finish the final 2 episodes, they're so massive. I can only imagine with what we've got so far, and we know that the final episode of season 4 is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, man. So yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff over there. They're doing as Kevin Smith would say, the Lord's work over there with Stranger Things. Gotta love that show, man. Love that show, and I'm excited to see what happens here and then what happens with season 5. I'm going to throw out a little theory I have about an episode that's going to take place in season 5, and I think there's no way you can end season 5 without freaking 11 and Mike at the prom together. Because you just circle back to the earlier episode where they were at this, what was the snowball dance or whatever. You got to end it with the prom, right? They're all in high school now. It's got to be a prom ending. Or something's going to happen at the prom. The prom's got to be involved in here some way, shape, or form, just as a callback to that snowball thing. I think. I mean, it has to happen. Let me know what you think on that. But yeah, I think that's just something that's pretty easy to write in. Let's see. Ghostbusters news. Last week, Ghostbusters Day took place, and Sony announced some things, man. Sony Pictures and Ghost Corps announced that they have an animated film in the works over at Netflix. That's going to be going to Netflix as well. They have announced the sequel to Afterlife, which I believe was already announced. Yeah, I believe that was announced already, or we knew it was coming because Afterlife did so well. And not only has the sequel been announced, but it is known that the sequel to Afterlife will be returning to New York City with the iconic firehouse setting from the original films in it as well. There's also a virtual reality training simulator called Ghostbusters Vr Academy that was announced. There is also a Ghostbusters comic series by Dark Horse that was announced that will be bridging the gap between Afterlife and the upcoming sequel. Cool, man. No other details known. Don't know if the surviving Ghostbusters will be returning to the film. Don't know if Rick Moranis will be returning. We'll see. Cool. It's awesome. I enjoyed Afterlife. Need to watch it again. Yeah, I like it. Ghostbusters getting a thing. I don't do virtual reality, so I'm sure that's something that probably Zach would be looking into. And then the animated series, we'll see what happens with that. So, good stuff, man. Ghostbusters news. While we're talking Sony, Sony has also announced Spider-Man No Way Home is returning to theaters for the Labor Day weekend. It's known as Spider-Man No Way Home, the more fun stuff version, which is, added features, I guess. I don't know. The article I read didn't have a whole lot of detail of what they're doing. I don't know what's going on here. Will I go to theaters to see it? No, I have no intentions of doing that. I enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I need to. This sounds very much like Spider-Man No Way Home cash grab. We want more money, which I don't fault them. Of course, movie studios want more money, and people are going to theaters more now than they were even thinking back to Spider-Man No Way Home. So, of course, they're going to try. That came out, December? So, of course, they're going to try to get more money. I can't fault them. I mean, Avatar's re-releasing before the new Avatar film comes out. So, whatever. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. So, good on them, I guess. I doubt. I don't plan on seeing it unless I get like that Regal Club Crown Pass thing they got, which I'm heavily thinking about getting because Elvis and the Black Phone released the same day, and I want to see both movies. Elvis is obviously going to win that battle for me if I have to pick and choose between both of them. But if I get like the pass to watch, as many movies as I want in a month, I mean, pretty easy to do both, right? Let's see. Marvel Studios. More news with them since we're just talking Spider-Man. They have apparently announced a Thunderbolts film, and they have a director in Jake Schreier, who's mostly known for doing music videos. The film's plot is unknown, but it will most likely be an adaptation to the general story from the comics, which revolves around a group of supervillains who partake in missions for the government. Suicide Squad. What? Marvel copy of DC? No. No. No way. That's not sarcasm, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it is sarcasm, but still, it's the facts. Marvel has used a lot of DC stuff. Also, Harry Potter stuff. But I digress. Thunderbolts is happening. Along with the plot, just what villains make up the group is also being kept under wraps, although Deadline reported that Marvel has already been in touch with certain individuals who have already been in the MCU projects to keep their schedule open. Potential villains that have already appeared in past Marvel Cinematic Universe films or television series that have a history with Thunderbolts include Baron Zemo and Taskmaster, both of whom have already appeared, of course, in the MCU. Other villainous characters that could make an appearance include Yelena Belova, you know her, of course, as Florence Pugh, Ghost, the Abomination, U.S. Agent, and the Winter Soldier. As far as who would operate as the leader of the group, it could be speculated that it could be either Zemo or Julie Louis-Dreyfus's character from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, Valentina Gria, was it De Fontaine? She was the head of a group already, if I remember Falcon and the Winter Soldier correctly. So we'll see what happens there. But there you go. It's the next project that's being kept under wraps over there at Marvel. Could be interesting. Like I said, it sounds very Suicide Squad-y to me. Let's see. A reboot of the classic horror film Sleepy Hollow is in the works over at Paramount. Apparently, according to rumors, the original story based on, of course, the 1820 novella, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. There's been multiple iterations of this. Of course, the fantastic film with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, two people that I just absolutely love and adore. It's cool. I'm into it. I watched a video recently of people visiting the town of Sleepy Hollow. I want to go there so bad. I want to live there, I think. But yeah, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, if you don't know, it focuses on the town of Sleepy Hollow as it is haunted by the visits of the Headless Horseman. The film is looking to be directed by Lindsay Beer. Her last name's Beer. Lindsay Beer at the helm. She is currently working with Paramount on yet another Pet Sematary. Sleepy Hollow will mark Bree's second directorial outing after that. So it's a prequel to Pet Sematary, by the way. It's not a remake or reboot or anything. It's a prequel to Pet Sematary. I remember we just had a Pet Sematary movie a couple years ago, not too long ago, and I have a poster of the new Pet Sematary hanging up at my work cubicle because it was free, and it looks cool. But yeah, I'm into it, man. I'm into returning to Sleepy Hollow. I'm highly interested, for sure, to see how that turns out. Freaking watch the Johnny Depp Christina Ricci one if you have it. It's a good movie. Very interesting. Let's see. Let's jump back into DC news with The Rock, of course. The Black Adam trailer finally debuted. Full trailer, man. We got the teaser at DC Fandom last year, and then now we've got the full trailer, which looked good. Trailer looked good, man. We'll see how the movie turns out, but the trailer's looking good. And of course, The Rock, anytime he's posted anything to do with Black Adam, he's always put the power, the hierarchy in DC is about to change. He's been doing that for a while, and he talked some more about the film recently. After the trailer debuted, he did a press conference, I guess. Not really a press conference, but, he answered some questions when he talked about the film, and he said, to the journalist, he said, quote, "I am 100% committed to not only Black Adam, but then expanding the Black Adam universe and the DC universe. We'll work very hard to make sure, again, we're honoring the mythology, but also giving the fans what they want. I pick up everything you're putting down, and it doesn't get by me. It doesn't get by these guys. This is the beginning, hopefully, fingers crossed, of a very long storytelling road where Black Adam is the anchoring jet fuel that will then push and press this universe out." I'm into it. I'm into it. I love how passionate The Rock's been. He's been working on Black Adam for years, man. I think he's been doing this as long as that Flash film has been in production, if not longer. And I'm into it. I love how into this he is and how much he's working hard to build a universe. To think about that. This is The Rock. He can do whatever he wants. And he's so into this DC project and he's so into building the universe and all this storytelling, man. We don't know where the universe is going right now at DC. There is a universe they're working on as well as doing standalone films. Now there's new people in charge over at Warner Brothers Discovery, as it's going to be called now. So we'll see if they're changing things up altogether. The Flash film has been said to be a soft reboot of the universe. This Black Adam movie, the way The Rock's talking about it, maybe this is the soft reboot to the universe. Who knows? There's been talks that Superman could show up in this film. There's a lot of things that could happen with this Black Adam movie that's very interesting. And I'm into it, man. And I love his passion for this film. I've always liked The Rock, been a fan of his when he was in the WWF, when it was called back then, and then, of course, WWE, and then now seeing I've enjoyed his films, and I'm into it, man. We'll see what happens. Will Black Adam be a traditional Rock film, or will it be more? Obviously, The Rock doesn't typically play a bad guy in his films, so we'll see, man. Black Adam's kind of an anti-hero, so he's got some villainous qualities to him. The Rock was a great villain in the WWE, especially when he's doing the Hollywood Rock thing. So I'm into it. I trust The Rock, and if he's this passionate about it and building this universe, I'm freaking into it, man. DC, look at The Rock, man. He'll help you out here. Let's see. Continuing DC, James Gunn has been continually teasing that he has a lot of plans in store for the DCEU. And today he posted a pretty cryptic image of the Thinker on his Twitter. The picture was of the Thinker, and the caption that James put on it is, "I can't wait to tell you all the big plans we currently have in play," with a devil emoji and I think that's a tongue sticking out emoji. I don't know my emojis. I didn't watch the movie. Anyways, I'm into it. I love that James Gunn is, continuing to do stuff here. Of course, his first thing was the Suicide Squad film he did, which was great. And then, of course, the Peacemaker show, which is also great. They've announced an Amanda Waller spinoff show. And I don't know, are we getting a Thinker spinoff show? Who knows, man? But I trust that James Gunn's doing great stuff over there, man. Let's see. Shazam! Fury of the Gods director David F. Sandberg is hyping up his film, which will be coming soon. Going back to Black Adam, that is releasing October 21st, 2022. Back over to Shazam 2, which of course has ties to Black Adam. Shazam and Black Adam have their rivalry. Shazam, that film's coming in December this year, I believe. Still slated for December. Moved up to December this year, I believe. Let me check Google real quick. Yeah, December 16th. In December 12th and December 16th. So yeah, this December. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, though, director David F. Sandberg is, of course, hyping up his upcoming DCEU film. Should just call it DC Universe. Talking about blockbuster creature effects and action scenes. When responding to a fan, he said Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods is a much larger scale compared to the 2019 film. Also added there's so much stuff in the movie that he's looking forward to sharing with the fans, singling out the set pieces and magical monsters in particular. This is cool, man. This is cool. I can't wait to see a trailer for it. I'm into this Shazam. My brother, who I mentioned earlier, the birthday boy, he loved the first Shazam movie, so I know he's hyped for the sequel. And again, new fan of Rachel Zegler. She's in the film, so I can't wait to see what her character is and what she's got going on. Zachary Levi was fantastic in the first film. The first film was really enjoyable, man, so I can't wait to see what they end up doing here with the Fury of the Gods. Let's see. Other news. I told you I had a lot of news this episode, man. Lulu Wilson is returning for Becky 2, The Wrath of Becky, the sequel to the Becky film that came out in 2020, which was just called Becky, of course. This film will also star Sean William Scott. The original film, which I believe I did review, you can go find that episode somewhere. I believe it's called Anne Becky. Like I title all my shows normally with the movie I'm reviewing. In the original film, the spunky and rebellious teenager Becky tries to reconnect with her father during a weekend getaway at a lakefront house, but the trip soon takes a turn for the worse when convicts on the run, led by the merciless Dominic, who was played by Kevin James, invade the home. The feature did have some success. It was released during the height of the COVID pandemic, but still did pretty well, topping the June 5th weekend box office and earning the biggest opening weekend since mid-March of 2020 when it released. With the sequel, this would be prior to the events of the recently wrapped new chapter. Becky has been living off the grid for 2 years. She then finds herself going toe-to-toe against Daryl, who's played by Sean William Scott, the leader of a fascist organization on the eve of an organized attack. The distributors gave us a quote here saying, quote, audiences have been asking for a Becky sequel since the film's 2020 premiere, and we're proud to work with them again to extend the franchise. Our goal was to up the ante from Becky 1 in every way imaginable, and with Matt and Sue's wild script and Sean William Scott's turn as our terrifying villain opposite Lulu's Becky, we know we know we know we'll deliver the thrills, gore, and heart that audiences have loved in the original. Sean William Scott is a villain, man. That's what they did with the first movie. You're like, Kevin James is the bad guy, and then you watch the movie, you're like, hey, he's pretty good. Sean William Scott is a villain, man. Let's see how that works out. The film is planning for an early 2023 release. Again, I think I enjoyed the first Becky film, so I'm into this. Can't wait to see what we got there. And last bit of news here. Laura Jean, I'm going to mess up this last name, Krotsky, who plays Freddie Lounds, or played Freddie Lounds on NBC's Hannibal, is reteaming with Don Mancini for the upcoming Chucky Season 2. Deadline is reporting. Deadline notes the details of the character are being kept under wraps as the setting for the new season is yet to be revealed, but the role is major. Now, when I was looking at this article, and I looked at the picture they have of Laura Jean from the Hannibal show, just putting 2 and 2 together, and this is just me speculating and wildly guessing, but as a Chucky franchise lover, my favorite horror franchise, I could see Laura Jean playing, looking at that picture alone that's in the article from Deadline, she looks like Glinda. Glinda, that is the child that Chucky and Tiffany had in Seed of Chucky. When we left them in Seed of Chucky, spoilers, but Glinda, I think we haven't seen anything with Glenn or Glinda in the series yet. They haven't really been touched on in any of the other Chucky films, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. I don't remember them being mentioned in Curse or Cult of Chucky. So yeah, the show has been great. Love the first season. I want to watch it again. I'm hoping that this show will be represented at Halloween Horror Nights this year. It's Universal property. I mean, how could you not? And I'm excited for season 2. And yeah, just looking at that picture, I'm leaning towards it being Glenn/Glinda, or just Glinda. We'll see, man. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm into it. Very into it. All right, let's see. Moving on to what's releasing this week. I only have 2 things here to talk about. Lightyear, the Buzz Lightyear film that is coming out. There's a lot of controversy surrounding that on the internet. Imagine that. It's PG, comedy, adventure, 1 hour, 40 minutes. This will be in theaters. I will not be seeing it in theaters. I'll wait till it hits Disney Plus. Maybe I'll watch it then. Buzz Lightyear embarks on an intergalactic adventure with a group of ambitious recruits and his robot companion. I enjoy the Toy Story films. I don't think we needed a 4th one, and I really don't remember watching that movie. I did see it, right? It's the one with the fork. Yeah, I hate that freaking fork. Yeah. I saw the 4th one. I enjoyed the other 3 films. Freaking 3 made me cry like a baby. And I enjoyed the old show they had with Patrick Warburton as the voice. I don't know, man. This movie has been met with a lot of controversy because Chris Evans is doing the voice instead of Tim Allen. Now, again, the movie is based on the astronaut who the toy was inspired by, from what I understand. So the voice being different, yes and no. I mean, I can kind of understand it because Tom Hanks doesn't do the voice for Woody in real life. He does it for the movie. He doesn't do it for the toys. His brother does it. So I can see it. I can understand all that stuff. I'm just not interested enough to see the movie in theaters, is what it comes down to. I love Tim Allen. I would prefer him doing it. Don't have much of a problem with Chris Evans. And like I said, I can understand them doing a voice difference here, as long as for good reasons. I think a lot of people don't like Tim Allen because of his political choices or whatever, which whatever. I don't get involved in politics and care less about politics. But But yeah, like I mentioned, the whole Tom Hanks thing there, so I can understand the voice change between the. At the same time, this movie, I don't know, man. Lightyear, that's releasing this week, and Spiderhead is hitting Netflix this week. Is rated R. It's a crime drama in a state-of-the-art penitentiary run by brilliant visionary Steve Abernathy, who's played by Chris Hemsworth. Inmates wear a surgically attached device that administers dosages of mind-altering drugs in exchange of communicated sentences. I cannot talk tonight. There are no bars, no cells, or orange jumpsuits. In Spearhead, incarcerated volunteers are free to be themselves until they're not. At times, they're a better version. Need to lighten up? There's a drug for that. At a loss for words, there's a drug for that. But when two subjects, Jeff, played by Miles Teller, and Lizzie, played by Journey Smollett, form a connection, their path to redemption takes a twistier turn as Abernathy's experiments start to push the limits of free will altogether. Again, the Spiderhead, it sounds interesting. It's hitting Netflix this week, and I will have a review for it on our Patreon, the Throw Me Podcast Network Patreon. You will be where you hear my review of that film. Let's see, and is that it? All right, that's all the news, and that's what's releasing this week, man. So now that means it's review time. So cue up the trailer, and then I will have my thoughts on the Northman after. Be back after the trailer.
Now, behold.
He's here. He's here. Mother! Father is here! The king, milady. The king.
Your fate is set and you cannot escape it. How I've missed you, my son. One day this kingdom will be yours.
Thank you, Father. My king. I can feel now. I will avenge you, Father! I will save you, Mother! I will kill you, Fiona!
I will avenge you, Father. I will save you, Mother. I will kill you, Fiona.
Why would he stow away to such a hellish place?
To find what was stolen from me.
And what is that?
The kingdom. You must choose between kindness for your kin or hate for your enemies.
Your strength breaks men's bones. I have the cunning to break their minds.
And night by night, we will carry out my pledge of vengeance. I will avenge you, Father.
I will avenge you, Father.
I will save you, Mother.
I will save you, Mother.
I will kill you, Fiona.
All right, welcome back to the show. That was the trailer for The Northman, which is streaming now on Peacock. It was in theaters before, but is now on the Peacock for you to check out whenever you want to check out. Let's see. It is rated R for strong, bloody violence, some sexual content, and nudity. It is an action-adventure film, 2 hours and 17 minutes. And like I said, it is on Peacock. Prince Amleth is on the verge of becoming a man when his father is brutally murdered by his uncle, who kidnaps the boy's mother. 2 decades later, Amleth is now a Viking who's on a mission to save his mother, kill his uncle, and avenge his father. Rotten Tomatoes has a critic score of 89%, while the audience did not feel so highly on it as they gave it a 64%. And IMDb, wow, 7.3 out of 10 from IMDb. So, me with this movie, man, I remember seeing the trailer in theaters multiple times. I'm like, yeah, this looks good. This could be cool, man. This could be cool. And look at this cast. Look at all these freaking famous people you're throwing at me. Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, William Dafoe. Like, yeah, man, look at all these people. It's going to be interesting, man. Look at that trailer. Just watching that trailer again while I was playing the audio. I'm like, yeah, it's a good trailer. And then you remember last week's episode, I talked about how I started the Northman. I was about 30 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, this is not going good. Because I started watching it before Monday Night Raw last week, and then, I was going to finish watching it after Raw. And, I was like, I don't want to watch that movie right now. And, I finally ended up obviously finishing watching it over the weekend. And, yeah, I will say, and I laughed when I read the runtime. It did not feel like 2 hours and 17 minutes. I even posted this on Twitter. Like, I felt like I was watching that movie for at least 15 hours, if not more. And, I mean, it's like a Viking movie, and you can tell from the trailer. Actually, no, you can't tell from the trailer because, again, that trailer is so much more exciting than this movie was. Not to say this movie doesn't have, like, its exciting moments, and I'm not talking about, seeing naked butts and all that stuff, man. There's some good action scenes and, sword killings and gore and all that stuff. There's some good moments of that, but there's a lot of moments, honestly, when I was watching the movie, I'm like, man, it's kind of boring, and I'm not somebody who hates story, man. I'm into story. I'm glad I can enjoy story and all that. It's not anything like that. It's just I wasn't feeling it for this movie. And, I don't dislike Viking stuff. It's cool. It's interesting. That time period, it's an interesting time period. Love Anya Taylor-Joy. She's one of my favorite actresses. The cast is strong. I mean, William Dafoe doing awesome. I mean, what you expect from William Dafoe, you get here. Ethan Hawke, I don't know. Ethan Hawke kind of seemed out of place. Maybe it's just me, but he just seemed a little out of place. It's nothing against his performance or anything. It's just anytime I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about Ethan Hawke as, a Viking. I don't know. Again, nothing against Ethan Hawke. He's, talented dude. I will say, Nicole Kidman's fantastic in the movie. I thought she was great. I thought she did a great job in her role. I don't watch a whole lot of Nicole Kidman stuff. I mean, I think the only movie of hers I've really ever paid a lot of attention to was Days of Thunder. Again, not a knock on Nicole Kidman. It's just, she's never really been destination viewing. Like, earlier I mentioned, I saw Knives Out because of Jamie Lee Curtis. I've never watched a movie because Nicole Kidman was in it, just saying. Again, nothing against Nicole Kidman. Just, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, Anya, absolutely watch anything she's in, right? I mean, she's fantastic. Love Anya. So I think that was one. I mean, the trailer's strong. The trailer was strong, very strong. I think the trailer's better than the movie, and it happens. That's something that definitely happens. I remember when this movie came out, it didn't do well at the box office. And the director of the film was like, it doesn't, millennials. I think he blamed millennials, if I remember correctly. He's like, millennials didn't go out and see the movie. Like, honestly, I remember seeing the trailer for the movie. I'm like, yeah, I want to see it. And then I never went to theaters to see it. And I'm glad I didn't go to theaters to see this movie. It's just, it drags at moments, man. It drags. There are good moments. There's moments when I was watching this movie, too, to be honest with you. And it's going to sound weird saying it. But there's like moments where I was thinking about The Lion King, the animated movie, not the freaking. Don't even get me started on that live action movie. But yeah, there's moments of it where it had like a Lion King feel to it, especially towards the end. I don't know why. That's just what popped in my freaking cinemaphile head. But I mean, overall, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but I have no intentions of ever watching this movie again. Like it was on Peacock. It was a newer movie, and I remember the trailer. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I want to check this out, man. And Anya's in it. I want to watch it. And yeah, it was an adventure to say the least. It was between this and Ambulance, and I still want to watch Ambulance, and I probably will end up liking Ambulance more if I had to guess. This movie came out this year. It will not. Yeah, this movie will not make my top 10. I don't know where it'll land on my whole list of 2022, because I make a whole list, man. I'll just make a top 10 list. Like, I write down every movie I've seen, and we come to the end of the year, I rank them all up. Normally just talk about like the top 10, but I do the whole thing, and I'll, follow me on, what is that movie one? Letterbox, that I never do anything on. I'll post all of them on there. But yeah, man, the movie didn't do it for me. It's, I guess I'm more towards the audience score on the Rotten Tomatoes, if anything. It's like, I enjoyed some of the action. I think Alexander Skarsgård did a good job. Anya did a good job, of course. Nicole Kidman did a great job. Bjork's in this movie? Frickin' Bjork is in this movie. All right, go ahead, Bjork. But yeah, there's too many moments of the film where I just felt like I was uninterested, and that's never good when you're watching a movie. You never want to be uninterested at any point in time, and just being truthful, I don't want to bash a movie. That's not my goal here. I never tell somebody not to watch a movie. If you're into Viking stuff, you will probably enjoy the movie. Like I said, I'm not against Viking stuff, but the movie's like, I don't think it's a true story. It's not directly based on a true story. It's kind of inspired, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, there's good scenes in the film. When it gets brutal, it does get brutal. That rated R for strong bloody violence. There is some strong bloody violence in the film for sure. And there are moments of the film where I'm like, yeah, and I'm interested. And, again, just watching that trailer just then, I'm like, this looks freaking great. This looks good. And then you watch the movie, you're like, man, that's just my feeling. I'm sure there's people out there that love the film. That's awesome, dude. Love what you want to love. Like I said, I will never tell somebody to not watch a movie. I'm just going to give you my opinion on it. I think it feels much longer than 2 hours and 17 minutes. When it needs to hit the action, it does a pretty good job on the action, for sure. But, other moments of the film do feel like, I don't need that, And again, it's got nothing to do with the story. I enjoy story films. I can watch some dialogue. The best of them. I'm a freaking Kevin Smith fan. All of his movies are dialogue, man. So, I don't know. For me, it wasn't an enjoyable time throughout. There's definitely too many moments of, I wish this was over. There's too many moments where I was like, this is going on too long. Again, if I'm saying the movie made me feel like I've been watching it for 15 hours, it's like, oof, it's a rough patch. Especially if it's a movie where it's like, I got to stop watching this, come back to it later. Yeah, it's not going to be too strong of a review from me. And that's me. Like, I'm not telling you to hate the movie. If you enjoy the movie, awesome. I'm not going to judge you for doing it. For me, though, The Northman just didn't hit what I was hoping it would hit, I guess, from seeing that trailer. And yeah, I mean, the performances by the people in the film, pretty good. There's maybe one performance I wasn't too into, but overall, I got what I got with it, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if there's going to be a sequel to the film. I mean, it didn't do too well at the box office, so it's doubtful that it gets a sequel, but I would not be surprised if it got one, especially with that cast. And, yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But as for me, I do not plan on watching this movie again. Maybe, it's not on the cards to watch again. Maybe if I'm like, let me give it another try, I'll get into it. But dude, I was wide awake when I was watching that movie, and I don't know, didn't work, didn't compute, man. It happens. We're on to the next film. So, Ambulance, maybe I'll watch that and review it next week. Because, like I said, I'm not gonna watch Lightyear and Spiderhead. That'll be a Patreon exclusive review. So, yeah, maybe I'll watch Ambulance and have that as the review for next week. But as for this week's episode, man, this super long episode with all the news, theme park news, man. I got some theme park news in this one. That does it. That's it. Well, I can't wait to hear more about this Lady Gaga Joker film, especially as Harley Quinn. Come on. I'm sure you can look this up online. Let me do a quick Google search. Make this episode even longer. Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn. I'm sure there's got to be there's got to be somebody who's done a mashup, right? Not that I'm saying off the top. Probably have to, do a deep scroll here. Mashup. Let's see if that does anything for me. No, not that I'm seeing. Mostly just, pictures of her and then Joaquin Phoenix or her added in. And, of course, Margot Robbie, who's fantastic. Love Margot. And that's the other thing. Like, obviously, there's going to be multiple Harley Quinns here. I mean, Margot's not done. There's no way she's done. I think they announced more, right? She's not done. And that's what I love about DC, man. They can do a lot of stuff. Other people are like, I wish DC would make up their mind. No. Do your thing, DC. Give me as much content as you want to give me. I'm into it. So yeah, it's surprising. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn stuff eventually. Because like I said, I don't think that clicked in a lot of people's minds. Oh, Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, that'd be interesting to see. I don't think that clicked in a lot of people's minds. But as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that'd be pretty dope to see. You know, especially when you think about her in American Horror Story. Yeah, it'd be pretty dope to see for sure. So, all right, cool. And it's a musical. I can't wait to see how that works out. All right, anyways, that's the end of this episode. Appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me ramble on, as always, as I do on the show, having a good time. And I appreciate you, man, taking the time to listen to my show, listen to all the other shows. Again, happy birthday to my brother, Tombstone Josh. Be sure to check out his show, The Metal Groove. Check out the Haunters Podcast. Check out Mr. Wonderful Show. Drops the day after mine. And then day after that, we get Zach's Speakeasy, man. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good content here on the Thrill Me Podcast Network. And stay tuned to my show for more updates on the Joker, DC news, horror news, movie news, Halloween Horror Nights news, and Universal Theme Parks news, man. But I appreciate you all. Hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, week, month, year, whatever, wherever. Hope life treats you good. And remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all next time. Thank you for joining me this week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to get updates on all new episodes. As well, follow me on Twitter at review_it_Rob. Stay tuned for more adventures.